Nobody tells you that boredom is a room where your real self is waiting and that you've been running from that meeting your entire life. Think about the last time you were truly alone. No phone, no music, no podcast filling the silence. How long did it last? 30 seconds? Maybe a minute? Then the hand moved on its own. Screen unlocked, feed open, another hit of nothing. You didn't even decide to do it. That's the part nobody talks about. Here's what the data actually says, and it should disturb you. Microsoft research found the average human attention span has dropped below 9 seconds. 9. A goldfish holds attention for 8. You're 1 second ahead of a creature with no memory and no ambition, and you're proud of how productive you are. But it gets darker. A University of Virginia study gave people a choice: sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes or administer mild electric shocks to themselves. 2/3 of men chose the shocks. They would rather hurt themselves than be alone with their own mind. Read that again. You would rather be in pain than be bored. Ask yourself why. Here's what no one in the self-help industry will tell you, because it kills their business model. Boredom is not the problem, it's the signal. When you're bored, your brain is not broken. It's starving. It's asking you, in the only language it has, to feed it something real, to create, to think, to confront. And every time you reach for the phone, you're telling it, not today. Most men treat their mind like a fire they're afraid to let burn, so they pour water on it every 30 seconds. They wonder why they feel cold. The cost of this is not measured in hours. It's measured in what you never became. Every great idea you didn't have, every problem you didn't solve, every version of yourself you killed before it could breathe because you couldn't stand 4 minutes of silence. Here's the cliffhanger. The most successful people in history didn't avoid boredom. They built systems around it. And what those systems did to their output, that's what we're getting into next. If this is already making you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is your brain recognizing something true. Hit like, not for the algorithm, because you want more of what hurts in the right way. In 2013, neuroscientists at the University of British Columbia discovered something that reframed everything we thought we knew about rest. When the brain has nothing to process, no inputs, no tasks, no stimulation, it doesn't shut down, it activates. The default mode network lights up. This is the part of your brain responsible for creative synthesis, self-reflection, and long-range planning. It's the part that connects ideas from different domains and produces insight that focused attention never could. It only activates when you stop feeding it noise. Charles Darwin walked every single day for hours on his thinking path at Down House. No books, no conversation, just gravel, silence, and his own mind. On those walks, he solved the problems that took 20 years of laboratory work to confirm. The origin of species was not written at a desk. It was thought on a path that bored every visitor who ever saw it. Franz Kafka wrote in a state of enforced isolation. He worked a 9-to-5 he despised, came home, sat in the dark, and refused distraction until something emerged. He called his writing time a descent. Not inspiration, a descent. Because reaching what's real requires going down, not up. Warren Buffett reads for 6 hours a day and schedules large blocks of what his office calls nothing time. Time with no meetings, no calls, no output expected. He has said that the rarest commodity among executives is unscheduled silence. He protects it like a weapon. These men didn't succeed despite their relationship with boredom. They succeeded because of it. You've been treating this wrong. Boredom is not your enemy. Overstimulation is. The enemy is the system that profits from your inability to sit still. The engineers in California who built infinite scrolls specifically to eliminate the natural stopping point your brain was designed to use. They studied the slot machines. They borrowed the mechanism. They put it in your pocket and called it social. You haven't been failing at discipline. You've been fighting a machine built by the smartest people on earth to make sure you lose. And you've been losing. The question is whether you're willing to stop playing. Here are the 4 things that high performers do with boredom that no productivity influencer will put in a video, because they're not sellable, not aesthetic, and not fast. 1. The scheduled void. Block 90 minutes in your calendar. Write nothing in the description. No task, no goal, no output. Sit. Let the discomfort arrive and do not reach for anything. Most people last 4 minutes. Train to last 90. What emerges in that space is not motivation. It's clarity, the kind you cannot manufacture. Most people will never do this. That's why most people stay average. 2. Boredom as diagnostic tool. When boredom hits, instead of escaping it, ask, what is this feeling pointing toward? Boredom is almost always dissatisfaction with the current direction of your life. It is your deeper self issuing a complaint. Men who learn to read it stop making the same career mistakes, the same relationship mistakes, the same loop of starting and quitting. The signal was always there. You just kept turning up the volume. Most people will never do this. That's why most people stay average. 3. The single surface rule. For 1 hour a day, one surface, one task, nothing else. Not because multitasking doesn't work. You already know it doesn't. But because the practice of refusing distraction rewires the reward circuit. Every time you sit with discomfort and don't reach for relief, you are literally reshaping what your brain considers tolerable. You are expanding the container. You are building the capacity to think longer, harder, and deeper than the men around you. Most people will never do this. That's why most people stay average. 4. The no input morning. 2 hours after waking, no phone, no news, no podcast, no conversation if you can avoid it. Input is a drug. The first input of the day sets the frequency of your thinking for hours afterward. Guard those 2 hours. Let your mind operate on its own signal before the world overwrites it. This is when your actual thoughts surface, not the ones the algorithm gave you yesterday. Most people will never do this. That's why most people stay average. When was the last time you sat in complete silence? No phone, no music, no input of any kind for more than 10 minutes and didn't feel the urge to escape? Drop the number below, not the goal, the actual number. Be honest. No one here is watching to judge you, only to see how deep the hole goes. Picture a man at 50. He has consumed 300,000 hours of content. He has watched, scrolled, streamed, swiped. He knows every trending opinion. He has seen every viral moment. He has more information in his head than any human being in history was ever exposed to. And he has built nothing. Thought nothing that wasn't handed to him first. created nothing that didn't start as someone else's idea. He is not stupid. He is not lazy. He is hollowed. The inside of his skull is a mirror showing other people's faces. Where his own thoughts should be, there is only echo. He doesn't know this yet. He won't know it until the silence finally arrives on its own, the way it always does in the end. And there's nothing there to meet it. That man is not a warning. That man is a trajectory. And right now, today, you are either moving toward him or away from him. There is no standing still. Boredom is the room where your real self is waiting. Not your motivated self, not your productive self, your actual self. The one with opinions that aren't borrowed, with direction that isn't sold to you, with clarity that doesn't require content to sustain it. The men who built things, thought things, changed things, they were not more talented than you. They were more willing to sit in the room, to stay when it got uncomfortable, to wait. Waiting is not passive. It is the most disciplined thing a mind can do. Sit in the room. If you made it here, you're not looking for motivation. You're looking for something harder than that. A way of seeing that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. That's what this channel is. Not a place to feel good, a place to see clearly. Subscribe if you're staying. Not for the numbers, for the company of people who are willing to be uncomfortable. Next video, why the men who never quit are often the most dangerous kind of failure, and what the difference is between persistence and delusion. That one will cost you something to watch.